Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Absolutely Not Podcast. I'm your host, Heather McMahan. How are ya? We're here in Los Angeles at the One Hotel. You know, the One Hotel always treats us right. And I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you where I stay, but I am. I love the One. A little earthy, a little eco-friendly, just a great overall place. Really love this hotel. Shout out to the One. But we're here. We're here for the Emmys. I appreciate you guys being patient with us for the delay in this week's episode, but we have been nonstop, absolutely burning the candle at both ends since we got into town. But let's recap from last weekend. Had two amazing shows. Went from Omaha, Nebraska to Denver, Colorado. And let me tell you something right now. That Mile High City is no fucking joke. I was backstage getting ready, putting on my makeup, and I was like, do I have the flu? What has happened? And I realized it was the altitude. The altitude will take you down. Okay, you thought Scarlett was taking a tumble in Memphis, bitch. She almost took a tumble on the stage in Denver. I mean, the air's thin, but it's also thick. Riddle me that one. Riddle me that. But we had such a fun time. Omaha was incredible. We met a woman on the front row who runs a Nebraskan modeling agency. And she said that the gradual step up of success would be you start it in Nebraska, then you go to Chicago, and then next thing you know, you're at Paris Fashion Week. And I just love going from corn husking to, deep dish pizza to then all the way to Paris Fashion Week where you have nothing but a cigarette and a prayer. So... just met so many fucking characters. It was incredible. Also, we got to give a big shout out. Oh, Tina, hold on. Will you go grab the pillow? We got to show everybody the pillow. It's in the other room. Hold on. Tina's here. We're working. I have to give the biggest shout out to Derek, who works at the Farnham Hotel in Omaha, Nebraska. He has always waited on me, taken incredible care of us. And I walked into my hotel room with a gift from Derek. And this is Derek. This is Derek's pillow that he had made for me with him on it. And I just want to say, Derek, I love nothing more than getting a personalized gift from you. So every night when I go to bed, my husband can go, why the fuck do you have a pillow of Derek from the Omaha, Nebraska Luxury Collection Hotel? And I just want you to know that this means the world to me. Also, got a little nervous that maybe you would put a tag in it, a microchip, or a recording device, or maybe a camera so you could really keep tabs on me. But either way, I love it. I absolutely love it. Look, he's even holding valet keys, if you can, zoom in there. It's just everything about this Derek is creepy and fantastic and hilarious at the same time. So big shout out. We're going to leave Derek right there. Anywho, so got that in Omaha. Wonderful welcome there. And then we headed to Denver and we were all wheezing, but I want to give a big shout out to the Hillstone/Houston's at the Cherry Creek, not mall, little shopping area, Cherry Creek in Denver. Went there and had a phenomenal trout plate, split a burger with Andrew, a nice spinach dip with Ray. And we had a nice little, we don't ever get to eat well on the road. And again, it's not because we're not trying to go to the places. We just don't have time. You're going from a plane, a train, a rental car. You have 3 minutes to eat before you have to be at the theater for a sound check. Then you're strapping yourself into your costume. And then when you get off stage, I get off stage at like 10:30 at night. I got to change, do a meet and greet. So the only thing that's ever open is like a Wendy's, or we're eating like a cold pizza. So we never have options. So it was very nice, Denver. I really like performing in cities that have a fucking Hillstone or a Houston's. It's a nice creature comfort that sometimes you just fucking need. And I don't mean to be cursing that much, but that's just where I'm at. Also, side note, y'all can't see it, but I'm staring out of my peripheral. I have these sticky boobs. They're called Boombas. I think I bought them off TikTok Shop. Let me just show you. Hold on. Let me get them. So they're like these big, thick, sticky boobs. And it's not, if you're listening to this on audio, it's not a regular sticky boob. It's not the regular ones that you're thinking about. These are actually like give you a lift. And it's my secret weapon. I put it in my costumes. I put it in my red carpet dresses, everything. So it's nice when I don't have to wear a bra. And I can stick these up and they just push the cleavage up. They're not connecting anything. They just fill out your top so you don't end up with a flat pancake titty. Well, I shot an episode of a dinner time TV show with Chef David Chang yesterday in Fortune Feimster, and I had these in. And Chef made us these incredible modern Hot Pockets, if you will. And it was a flaky, crispy crust. And let me tell you what, the amount, I'll have Abby see if she can zoom in on this, the amount of pastry dough, and I don't know if that's a hair, I'm not quite sure what's happening there, that are stuck permanently to my Boombas. I'll stick that right there. It's disgusting. Like, I took them off, I peeled them out of my shirt, and it was just full homemade Hot Pocket on the titty. So we've been through a lot. That's all you need to know. Like, if I ever have to go to war, I will have these frickin' Boombas. I think that's what they're called. I probably got the knockoff version off Amazon, but these are next level. So if you need a little extra oomph for the girls, there you go. Very sticky. And when you rip them off your tit, not the best either. But here we go. But anywho, so that's what's going on. So we shot that. We've been running around. I am very excited, though. Let me calm down my energy for a second. I'm very excited about my Emmys dress. It's a beautiful color. You know, I asked ChatGPT what my palette was, and ChatGPT said I'm a true winter, yet I could also be a true summer and spring. So actually, I can wear everything but mustard yellow and orange. So anywho, it's a beautiful true winter color. I'm going to let your brain marinate on what you think I might be wearing, but it's going to be fantastic. It will probably be 110 degrees while I am on the red carpet, so bear with me. But the fittings went great. I'm feeling confident. I desperately need a spray tan, and if you're watching this on YouTube right now, I look like I've seen a fucking ghost. It's because I have. We've been going through a lot of personal trauma recently, but that's okay. We're going through it. We're doing it. And each day above ground with my pillow from Derek is a beautiful day. But what else is happening? You know, just FaceTime Jeffrey a little while ago. He was giggling. I was giggling. We're all just, we're giggling. We're doing the most. We're on the road. We're working and twerking. And next weekend, just want to give a big shout out to Minneapolis and Milwaukee. I'll be in your cities next weekend. And then I am full steam ahead doing shit for the Ryder Cup, which is very exciting. So really, I'm only home for like 24 hours and the next 3 weeks. And then I'm up in the Midwest. Then we're going to New York for a week for Ryder Cup. So we have been hitting the ground running. I'm living out of 3 suitcases. My Boombas have pastry phyllo dough all over them. I've got my vacation sig hat, and I've got my pillow of Derek that I'm taking everywhere. So life is good. No complaints, you know? I did have a little bit of a crash out the other day in the sense that I got overwhelmed, and this was immature of me. I got overwhelmed by the amount of missed calls I had on my phone, missed text messages, and I've always had this burner number. I've always had an extra work number that I have never used, right? And well, I got it like a year or 2 ago because too many people had my phone number, and then nobody called me on that number, and I would get very sad and depressed. But the whole point of having another additional line is that only like the people who need to have that number have it. But that didn't satisfy me. I got very alone with my own thoughts. I'm like, I need people to be bombarding me with bullshit. So I went down to AT&T the other day and I said, I need a phone for this line that I've been, of course, irresponsibly paying for like 3 years and just haven't had a phone connected to it. So the burner's getting booted up this weekend. I don't know if I'll eventually get rid of the old number, but the burner needs to be booted up. Okay, we're in burner activation because the amount of folks that have somehow gotten my number, prank phone calling me, texting me, beeping me, tweeting me over the dumbest shit. And I get this daily text from an obvious like Google number. And I don't know who's doing it. It could be Raymond pranking me all the time. It could be a random person that I've met before. It could be like a high school bully. I don't know. But every day I will get some insane sort of fucking text from this random number, and it's different every time. And the other day I got, your wig looks like shit and your pussy looks like it smells too. And I just responded, you're not wrong. You know, I'm not even fighting with the pranks anymore. I'm like, yep, you're right. Pussy rancid, wig needs to be adjusted. So that's where I'm at. You know, I don't really even have the energy to fight back on the crank calls right now. I'm going with them. I am riding the wave with them, that's it. That's all I've got. I've got phyllo pastry dough on my sticky boobs, and that's it. That's all she wrote. So that's where we're at. I'm going to be working my dick off this week simply to study and, be absorbing all the information for the Emmys. And I will do an Emmys recap next week. So you'll hear all about the parties and everybody we saw and the drama and the this and the that. But I'll tell you what, guys, these gigs with hosting, shout out to all the real journalists out there because it is such a gnarly job. Like, I'm obviously a comic, okay? I'm an idiot. But having to learn, and I can memorize a 90-minute show, but there's something about learning so many facts, being quick on your toes, having a producer in your ear, telling you what's going on, the chaos that's behind you, having to be dialed in and present and listen to whomever you're interviewing, waiting for their response, teeing up your next question. I don't think people give journalists enough fucking credit. But they do win a lot of Emmys and shit, but you get what I'm saying. It's a really tough gig. It's not just about being funny or charismatic or, you're picking up to prompter. You're having to make sure you're standing correctly while you're interviewing. You have their publicist telling you, don't ask this question, ask that question. There's just so much minutia and moving parts. It can make you feel rattled, but I'm going to take a beta blocker this week, test one out, see how I feel. And we're going to get the party started. But I'm excited. It's Emmys, baby. I love television. This is my favorite party of the year because this is what I live for. This is what I want to do. I want to be on television. So I'm fucking pumped to see the cast of White Lotus. Who else is nominated for everything? It's like, who's the top? It's White Lotus and, The Penguin. Dude. If you haven't seen The Penguin, it is fucking phenomenal. So it's 2 HBO shows because it's not Apple. Yeah, it's HBO. So White Lotus, The Penguin's nominated for frickin' everything. I'm going to see my crew from the Hacks, cast of Hacks that I love and adore. Never got cast in that show. Auditioned plenty. But it's going to be fun. I love the Emmys is always great because obviously they're serious actors, right? So I'm not saying I don't enjoy talking to them, but so many people in television are commies. They're all communists. They're all commies. They're all comics. They get it. It's a much, I don't want to say lighter lift. It's a more enjoyable conversation with so many actors because most of them are doing comedy or have been trained in comedy. So they know how to yes and a fucking conversation. Now you get to the Oscars and everyone's so fucking serious and you're like, this is a downer. But it's going to be fun. Hopefully we're working the rooms. We'll have a nice little costume change. Next thing you know, I will be tongue to tongue with Glenn Powell later on in the night, and Jeff won't be mad. But we got a lot going on. The tour is in full swing. Get your tickets at heatherontour.com. And I am adding a bunch of shows to the spring. We are solidifying all of those dates right now. So I don't want to hear it. You've been aggressively DMing me. You're angry. You're upset. Chill, Philadelphia. We're coming very soon. Okay, I want to jump right into it. Enough about my bullshit. Let's get right into the voicemails. This is my favorite part of the week, of the month, of my life. As always, you can call into the hotline, 800-213-7503, and let's get into the absolutely not voicemails.
Hi, Heather. I have an absolutely yes to my sister surprising me with front and center seats to your Denver show last night, which you absolutely killed. She was the one who screamed out that she's 5'8" and has hemorrhoids. Mm-hmm. So sorry about her. And hand to God, she was fueled by espresso martinis only, no drugs, no hallucinogens, nothing, which is incredibly shocking. I know. Also, absolutely yes to your second neck job. You look snatched, absolutely amazing. And trust me, I saw every angle, and it was such a treat. Thanks for the memories. Love and light. Tiramisu bitch.
Tiramisu bitch. We had such a funny moment at the Denver show. There was a very handsome, tall man in the audience who was just like strikingly gorgeous. And he was very tall. He said he was like 6'7", 6'8". So I started talking to him, doing a little crowd. We're just literally talking to him. I asked him, I was like, are you a professional athlete? Like, you're gorgeous. So that all of a sudden just opened up the absolute vortex of questions that were and comments that were just being lunged at me, thrown at me from the audience. So this one woman, who I guess is this lady's sister, just started yelling like, well, I'm 5'8". And I look at her and I go, what the fuck does that have to do with me talking to this guy who's like 6'8"? Like, what? She just got so excited. She was right there, front row, in the middle, right in my vagina. And sometimes they get crazy. And I don't know if it's the pheromones I give off. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if y'all are secret lesbians, but y'all get so excited that you just start, screaming crazy shit. I mean, people were yelling the most random shit at the Denver show. It was absolutely chaotic that I had to stop the beginning of the show and be like, what are you guys yelling at me? Someone was like, I didn't pay my taxes. I've got ulcerative colitis. You're like, I don't need to know everyone's ailments and wrongdoings. You guys are starting to incriminate yourself at this point. And then, of course, because I was in Denver, I was already a little discombobulated from the frickin' altitude. So I'm kind of having like an out-of-body moment going, wait a minute. Like, are people actually just yelling random ailments at me right now? Or is this actually going down? And I've already been under a lot of stress, so I'm kind of not fully in touch with reality like I'd like to be. That's what I've noticed. Even if something crazy is going on in your life and then you're trying to be the voice of reason and then you're not getting enough sleep, then you also start to be like, oh, okay, wellness update, not well. But no, it was so funny. And every time I perform in Denver, I obviously am waiting for the stoners to show up. Like, everybody is on another level of high because that is, that's just that is the ride that they ride, is they just stay shredding the gnar on the pow pow. They're on some gummies. And Denver's always stayed high. It's a mile high city. They stay, toked up. Toked up. Wow, I really sound old now. But, and sometimes when you're walking around Denver alone, you're like, oh my God, am I getting a contact high? Like, everyone's smoking weed. And you know me, when I'm on the road, I keep it very vanilla. It's not that exciting. It's just, maybe I have a glass of wine after the show, but I can't do what y'all were doing and then perform at that level. It's just simply not in me, babe. It's not in me. I was also trying to catch my breath from the fucking altitude. I mean, going up the stairs alone on the side of the stage, I said, I'm not going to make it. I was wheezing. Ray looked very pale. Andrew has all sorts of ailments. He's been traveling with us on the road because, the more the merrier. I love having my comic buddies with me. And he has just been toting around this small tube of this stuff called Rectocream. It's disgusting. I mean, it's not disgusting medically if you need it and you've got a weird asshole. Like, do what you have to do. But he brought it out backstage at the Charlotte show and was just kind of had it in his hand. And finally we chimed in and we said, why are you displaying your Rectocream? And I said, why do you need Rectocream, Andrew? And he said, well, when you're an older Jewish man like I am, we have a lot of gastrointestinal issues. I said, I understand the gastrointestinal issues, but why specifically the cream for the actual physical rectum? And he said, because when he eats certain things, it really tears him up on the way out. And I said, that's so unprofessional and uncalled for, but thank you for sharing. So we got Andrew backstage with his rectum cream. We've got Ray at one point he started to turn green, then purple. I was like, I don't know if he's had a stroke. We need medical attention. I'm catching my breath. Tina's sitting out in the audience getting some sort of contact high because everyone's smoking in the fucking theater. And then people are yelling random shit about their height, their weight, their blood type, their social security number. I'm like, everybody here needs Jesus. I mean, at one point, I put my hand on the side of the stage and just said a quiet prayer. I said, I don't know what's happening, but Denver is Denvering so fucking hard right now. And I know, Denver's called Denver. There's so many dudes, but every dude there has a fucking carabiner and some bullshit, and they all drive Subarus, and you're all trying to date them, and you don't want to date them because they're insufferable. It's like, I could never date a guy from Denver because he would ask me to be an outdoor kitty, and I'm not. I'm an indoor kitty. I would even want to go rollerblading at a rink. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to go for a hike. I don't want to go skiing on the weekends. I do, but I want to sit in the hot tub and have a nice glass of Chablis. Like, stop asking me to put so much inertia into what we're having to do on this date. Thank God I met Jeff. Jeff is a sensible man who enjoys sitting in one particular chair every single night for 4.5 hours and balancing his brain between going through Instagram videos, watching other grown men play golf on YouTube's, playing with the dog, back to a snack, back to an Instagram reel. It's very predictable and easy. You know, all we did when we first started dating was ate. We didn't even walk anywhere. I don't think I've ever used my legs on a single adventure with Jeff, and that's the way we like it. But Denver, y'all really brought it, and that's why I love y'all, truly. But I will say, had such a humbling moment. So when you play the Paramount Theater, which is one of my favorites, I've sold it out 3 nights in a row, many nights in a row. Well, selling tickets right now is apparently fucking difficult. I've talked to my other comedy friends, you know, they're also kind of like, we're all doing the best we can right now. Or maybe y'all are just sick of me. I don't fucking know. But it was a very well sold show, but it wasn't sold out. So I've just gotten so used to walking into that Paramount Theater dressing room, and there's a big balloon arch and there's a cake, and they always get very creative. Like the cakes that I've gotten beforehand are very fucking creative. And I walk in and I stop for a second. I was like, what's missing? Oh, yeah, my sold out cake. I mean, talk about a fall from grace. You get confectionery, sugar, deliciousness, and a fucking balloon arch. And you know how I feel about balloon arches. They're wasteful, but I want them. And I walked into that dressing room to nothing, not even a cheese board. And I said, this is, we've gotten sad. You know, I'm not getting as many gifts as I used to on the road. That's also sad. So I either got to release a sex tape or do something soon that just really gets the girlies going, because I was humbled. I mean, we still had a phenomenal show, but I said, okay, all right. We were 20 shy, short of a sellout, and no cake. Okay, Denver, I see what you're up to, but I love you regardless. Let's get to the next voicemail.
Hi, Heather. I have an absolutely not, but also an absolutely yes. So I was trying to get back together with my ex-boyfriend, which is a bad idea, I know. But anyway, so I went to go get my nails done, and we were going to spend the weekend together for my birthday. So as I'm getting my nails done, I was telling my nail lady what I was doing for the weekend, and she basically told me that my ex was still sleeping with his ex. So absolutely not to finding out that the guy that you're trying to get back together with is still sleeping with his ex. But on the other hand, I will say absolutely yes to my nail lady, who is a girl's girl, and sharing that information with me so that I could completely cut that off. Just had to share that. And I absolutely love you, and Robin, and Tiramisu Bitch, love you.
Tiramisu Bitch. Okay, first of all, this took an interesting turn, because usually nail ladies, you know, they're already spilling the tea regardless, but it's usually against you, right? You go in, you get your nails done, and they're bullshitting about you a little bit behind your back, rightfully so. Okay, nail salons are a place where we gossip. It's also high pressure. You know, there's a lot going on. People are very particular. So I get why nail ladies are always bitching about their own clientele and customers. I'll take it. I'll take it on the chin. But dude, first of all, you live in too small of a town. The fact that you go to the same nail lady as your ex's ex. We got to move. This is too small of a town. I mean, my God, where the fuck are you right now? The fact that you and the ex also go to the same nail lady? I don't like it. We got to branch out. Also, you never want to get back with an ex. Hear me, and when I say this, they're an ex for a reason. You never go backwards, you only go forward. Now, the only reasons why I might get back with an ex, if they didn't do something fraudulent. You know, maybe it was just they were, I don't know, had a bad bout of, what, I keep going to ulcerative colitis. I don't know. Maybe they just, like, if they had a medical condition and that's why you had to pump the brakes, but they were able to get it right, get it tight, fix it up, you know, tweak it up, then fine, get back together with them. They needed a little time to rest their weary legs. We get it. But they're probably an ex for a different horrible reason. You know, infidelity, they didn't support you in your goals and ambitions and dreams. There's a reason why they were your ex. But I also think that maybe, you know, at this point, if it's 3 exes, right? So he's got 2 exes. Maybe you all just get together and have a polyamorous relationship. I mean, it's clearly that you guys all have some sort of chemistry together. So either you're going to move completely to a new state, start fresh, join the witness protection program, and start dicking down in another state, or you stay at this nail salon, you stay in your hometown, and then all 3 of y'all start dating, because this is the most complicated small town bullshit I've ever heard of. Now, yes, of course, absolutely yes, and shout out to the G that is your nail lady for giving you the heads up. But the fact that she even knows who this other broad is, that means you're swimming in the kiddie pool, and I don't like it. And guess what, bitch? It's Adult Swim. It's Adult Swim right now. You need to be in the big pond, the big pool with the big kids, not this minnow shit. I don't like it. It's Adult Swim, honey. You know, I love going to my nail salon because Holly, who does my nails, she's just funnier than shit. And her husband, Van, I adore. He sits in the pedicure chairs right in front of his own screen, and he watches, they're Vietnamese, he watches this rolling YouTube series where it's like a day in the life of people who live in Vietnam. He watches them work in the fields. He watches them create amazing, gorgeous ceramics and like basket weaving. He watches them cook fresh Vietnamese food. It is fucking insane. And I will sit there, and Van, who clearly is going back and forth just smoking cigs all day, doesn't do, maybe like cuts a cuticle every 4 days. He will sit there, and then they'll have on, like, you know, Judge Judy, the soaps, everything else that you typically have in a nail salon, some sort of shitty HGTV show. And here I am, and I sit with Van, and we just shoot the shit. And I ask him about Vietnam. I've been to Vietnam. I've experienced a lot of this. I went all over Vietnam a couple of years ago. So I sit there, and I love watching him watch this weird voyeurism day in the life. I mean, this channel must have like 7,000 million hours of just rolling content from the homeland. It's insane. And I've been to other places that will also share their culture's day in the life. But Van and I will sit there, and he'll ask me if I want a cigarette, and I go, no. Thank you, though. And I'll get my nails done, and we will just watch people do their daily routines in Vietnam, and we'll bullshit. And that brings me so much joy. It really brings me a ton of joy. But if I was in that nail salon and my girl Holly and or Van said, yo, your ex is here and gets her nails done, I'd say, I got to move. We're packing it up. Actually, I wouldn't have to do that because I'm not getting back with my ex. You know, I wrote my ex into a TV show, and he will be judged accordingly by America. No, I don't really. Anybody that could even say that they were an ex, I never really dated or cared about, you know? And they would say, Heather, we were not dating. We had no point were you my girlfriend. And I'll say, I thought I was, because you took me to fraternity formal. And they said, no, you were just the sluttiest one in the group. And I would say, touche. I respect that. But anybody, you know, God, dating's hard. And I know, I get it. I've been out of the game. I can't really chime in much here, but there's a reason they're your ex. So always just remember that. You always go forward. You never go backwards. But again, if you apparently don't want to change nail salons, because I do understand that is very tricky and trivial, then maybe you guys all just start fucking and you figure it out together. All right? It's all or nothing, baby.
This is Darcy calling from Bangkok, Thailand.
Oh.
I don't know if this is an absolutely not or an absolutely yes, but I would like your help deciding. I am about to purchase a home, and the address is 666. So as a woman of faith just like you, is this going to be okay, or should I back out of this deal immediately? Thanks for the advice, Heather. Love and light. Love ya.
Darcy. First of all, only Darcy is the kind of bitch who would be buying a home in Bangkok, Thailand. That's all you need to know. None of y'all, not a single baddie who listens to this podcast has the balls, like a bitch named Darcy to buy a house in Thailand. Let's just face the facts. Darcy is the kind of name where you're like, hey, whatever happened to that girl in high school, Darcy? Yeah, the one who had like 3 DUIs and she had sex with the teacher. She had sex with our English teacher, but it was fine because she was 18. Whatever happened to her? Dude, I heard she bought a house in Bangkok, Thailand with the devil's number. What else do you expect from a Darcy? Exactly this. Now, Darcy, I can't in good faith tell you to buy this home. I can't. I do think there is something with that number. They do say that when the Antichrist comes back, you have the mark of the beast, which is that number on you. So I don't think it's great if it's on your mail, on your mailbox. I don't feel great about that. What I would say is, maybe, I don't know, if you're buying a house, is the house next door for sale? Maybe we do a condo. We just switch opposite sides of the hallway. I don't know. I don't want to tell you not to live your Thai dreams, to expand your life, to better yourself. But I don't think at all, for any reason, you should be buying a house with 666. I don't like it. And literally on a serious note, just throwing this out there, I've been trying to get back and in better touch with the light of the Lord and really just like honing in on what makes me feel fulfilled in my life, which is my faith. And I was getting a facial the other day, and after the facial, it was incredible. Loved it. Loved everyone there was wonderful, very professional, fantastic. And then as I was leaving, I was sitting down, putting my shoes back on, and the lady was like, hey, do you want to pull a card? And I said, what? And I realized it was a tarot card. And she immediately was like, yeah, pull a card. I was like, thank you so much. I am all set. Thank you so much. And she was like, huh? And I said, no, I don't want to pull a card. And she was like, oh, how come? And I just said, I don't need to invite that kind of energy into my life. Whatever that card says does not dictate my future. And she was so surprised. So I'm walking outside. We're still talking. And she's like, interesting. She's like, I find it really interesting that you didn't pull the card. I said, I told her, I'm surprised that you've had other people that have, not rejected that before. I said, I mean, no disrespect. I just don't want to pull a tarot card. I'm not into it. I don't want to do it. Thanks so much. Like, I came here for some extractions and a light microderm. Like, why are you now trying to put some soothsayer shit on me? She said, but you're an empath. How do you do comedy if you're an empath? I said, bitch, first of all, you clearly are a part of the darkness because I'm an empath, so you're coming for my light. And second of all comics are empaths because we study people. We understand emotion. We understand why people tick. It's all about the art of observation. And now it's like this woman's doing a deep dive. She's reading me up and down. She's putting her bad juju energy on me. And I swear to God, I got to the end of the driveway. I said goodbye. I just kind of kept the conversation going, said, it's very respectful, left. And I said, under my breath, I rebuke this whole thing in the name of Jesus. I'm laughing because I was just literally like, I didn't like it. I didn't like the energy. And it's fucked up because it was an amazing, very expensive facial. Like, I got in with one of the top people here in LA, which is such a vain thing. And I was like, oh, they're bringing out the machines, the wands, the buzzers, the electrodes, all of it. I mean, it was one of the best experiences of my life. And then I had to run out of the fucking place because I'm getting chased by the devil. I don't have time for that. Nor do you. Now, maybe if you could send, Darcy, us some photos of what the layout of the house is. Because, over in Asian culture too, you can't buy a house unless you get a feng shui expert in there. And I don't know if feng shui is represented in every Asian culture, but I do know, like, whenever I was looking at apartments in New York, I had an Asian broker one time, this Chinese woman, and she told me, she was like, whatever you do, never buy a north-facing apartment. You only get a southeast or southwest facing apartment. And I remember asking her why, and she said it's just bad luck in Asian culture. And I don't remember if it was specifically Chinese or in other Asian cultures, but every time we would go look at apartments, I was like, I can't get a north-facing apartment. But that, you need to ask around. Find the locals, say, well, what's the energy? What are we doing here? But I don't think you can go through with this real estate transaction. I just don't think you can. I don't think you can. because 666 is the devil's number, and we're going to what? Rebuke it in the name of Jesus. Or maybe ask, can you change? Can we add a number? 6661? We need a different combo. I don't like it. And if you got to trust your gut. Now, Darcy, again, I don't want to fuck up your real estate portfolio, but I definitely think we got to listen to the gut. And I think that's a good message for everybody. We got to start listening to our guts a little more. We have to start tapping into that small voice in the back of your head that says, pump the brakes. Something here doesn't feel right. And I unfortunately say yes to a lot of things in my life and have to learn that after the fact, where I'm like, oh, that party, didn't like the energy. Those were bad people. So what do we do to stop that before we get there? That's, I think, what a lesson that needs to be learned here. But again, we're all in a weird place. I feel the energy right now in the world's a little thick, and I'm not even trying to be serious at the end of the episode, but things do feel a little thick and weird and kind of like, what's going on? So trust your instincts. If it's a great house, regardless, you can have it blessed by the Lord. Okay. Maybe do a little bit more research. Ask ChatGPT, like, is this a non-negotiable? Because here's the thing: at the end of the day, numbers are just a sequence of numbers, and you didn't set up you didn't do the city planning. And if it's a great house, it's also a great house. And I don't know what the time market is like. And now recanting everything I'm saying, get the house, but just have it blessed by a priest. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? Because I don't know if in the Bible they considered city planning. I don't know if they did. So maybe we need to do a little bit more thorough research and talk to a local priest. But you got to get it feng shuied. You got to make sure it's blessed. And you got to trust that gut. But if for any reason at the closing, the other real estate agent who's selling you this home has a dark, dim light in their eyes, just know it's not the place, and it will be haunted, and your whole family might perish. Okay, guys, we're going to keep it light. We're going to keep it loose. This week, I am running around LA, so if you see me, say hi. Also, guys, from LA, I'm coming back to the Orpheum Theater there November 1st. Please get your tickets at heatherontour.com, and I will be on the road, full throttle. We're going to Florida. We're going to Minneapolis. We're going to Milwaukee. And I'm just going to be banging it out all frickin' year. And then we'll be adding some more tour dates in the spring. Okay. I love you. I mean it. I got to get to a fitting and get my shit together. But I love you. I'll see you on the next episode. Ciao, Bella. Arrivederci.